What is going on, guys? It's Josh Smith from Brewista here, and we are bringing you another Nitro video. So today's video, we're kind of going to walk you through the whole process of the machine, what the different controls are, what happens when you plug it in, how it pours, all that good stuff. So let's plug this bad boy in and see what happens. Okay, so now that we're plugged in, power switch right down here. Feel around for it a little bit, it's right there in the center. Flip it on. Okay, so there you have it. We are fired up. What you can see here looks like about 22.9 right now. The refrigerator has actually kicked on. It's gonna take us just a few minutes to get primed and get down to the proper temperature. So what you're looking at right now is the digital thermometer. It's gonna slowly work its way down. The whole startup process takes about 5 minutes for it to get to temperature and for you to be able to start pouring that ice cold nitro. All right, so we are back. As you can see, it is now set to 1.9. The machine comes preset to 2, so as soon as it gets below 2, that means the refrigerator is set to temperature, you're ready to go. So here we go, this is the little plastic lid. I closed that before, up, down, super easy. We do recommend to keep this down when you're not playing with the adjustments, just in case, you don't want any debris getting in there or anything like that. So let's flip this up and let's get into the next step. What you're looking at over here is a little power button. Don't get confused, this isn't the power button to turn the machine on. As you saw earlier, that button is located underneath. This right here is to turn the pump on. So when I hit this button into the on position, you will see the cold brew automatically start getting siphoned into the machine. Don't be concerned, that noise is completely normal. That is just the pump kicking in, allowing the cold brew to get in there just a little bit. The refrigeration will kick back on here because now you have a little bit warmer cold brew going in, and so it's kind of going to reset itself. A little tip here would be to turn the pump on first as you are getting your machine prepared and ready to go. As you can see, guys, temperature is completely adjustable. I'm gonna set this up just a little bit higher right now because our beverage is kind of cold, so we don't need it all the way down. So I'm gonna put this just up to 7.5 right now. Let it go for about 20 seconds and it will automatically lock in that position. So next step here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about the nitrogen dial. We do recommend to leave the nitrogen dial where it is, wherever it comes preset, start pouring that way and just kind of see where to adjust from there, either up or down by adding more or less nitro. So here's how you do it. This guy right here is the nitrogen dial. Just pop the little button out down here, just give it a little twist like that, and you can see it switched from 2 to 1. So for our purposes here at 7,200 feet, we're going to leave this here set at 2 because that's what we found pours the best nitro for us. So another cool feature about this new machine, guys, here on the control panel, it's kind of tough to see right now, but you can see it just over here. That is actually the nitrogen intake line. So we've added to this machine the ability to use external nitro for those customers that just want to get a little bit more. So now that the refrigeration has kicked off, you got your temperature set, it's ready to go. You got your nitro dialed in, the pump is on, cold brew siphoned into the machine, you've played with it, you're ready to start going. Let's start pouring. So pull the tap handle all the way down for a complete nitro pour. Okay, so we've been pouring nitro. We're gonna switch into still. To pour a still cup of cold brew, basically just turn the tap handle down about 15 degrees. Now with this transition, you are going to get a slight bit of nitro in there because there is about 2 milliliters worth of beverage in there that's already pre-nitrogenated, ready to go. Now we're gonna pour a full cup of still. As you can see, this is a completely still cold brew, allows you to offer 2 menu options from the same machine. So now that the cold brew has ran out completely, the machine actually stops pouring, and that's to protect itself from getting air in the line and running dry. What you'll see here to signify you is it'll start having a blinking red light on the on-off switch to the pump itself. That's just telling you there's too much air in the line, you don't have an airtight seal, or you're out of cold brew. To fix this, simply tighten the seal, add more cold brew, turn the pump off, turn it back on, it'll reset itself, you're good to go in 2 minutes. So we're gonna do a quick review about each one of these functions, and I'm gonna give you guys a few tips and tricks to help start your day smoothly. The first one being the digital temperature gauge. It is completely adjustable, comes preset to 2 like we talked about earlier. Big tip here is if you are refrigerating your cold brew, you're gonna wanna adjust it pretty much immediately. You don't want it set all the way down to 2. Set it up to about 7.5, 8. It'll work out way better for you. If you do have it down to 2, which is completely chilled all the way down, it's gonna bring in that almost freezing temperature cold brew, and it's gonna wanna try and cool it, and it's gonna overpower the machine, and you might actually freeze the lines. Another tip here, when you do first fire it up in the morning, you're gonna need time for it to kick in and get set to the proper temperature that you want. So big tip here would be come in, fire it up, get it set to where you want, walk away, go get your cold brew, go do your startup processes for the day before you're open, whatever it is, come back, you're ready to start pouring. Next, we'll talk about the nitrogen dial itself. It comes preset, like we talked about earlier, start there, that's a good place. However, depending on your elevation, if you're sea level, if you're like us, 7,000 feet, it's a little bit different. You're gonna wanna play with it. Start pouring immediately from where it's set at. Pour a couple cups just to test it, see how much cascade you're getting, see what the bubbles look like on the top, see how much crema you're getting on the top. Good starting point to get to would be about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of crema on top. That's about the industry standard. Next up, we've got the on-off switch for the pump. It's the little red switch up here. Flip it to the on position, it lights up. Once you have that digital temperature gauge set, go ahead and flip your pump on. It'll start siphoning in the cold brew. It'll allow you to walk away, do whatever startup procedures you need, do whatever else you want to do. You come back, not only is the refrigerant set itself, but your cold brew within the refrigerant and within the lines is also at the perfect temperature to start pouring. Okay, last thing here to talk about real quick. I know we said it briefly earlier, but if for some reason your system stops pouring, this button is blinking at you, that means there's air in the line somewhere. Whether you're out of cold brew, whether there's an air bubble, whether there's not an airtight seal anymore, or your line lifts up, for whatever reason, it's going to stop to protect itself. So to get your machine working, fired up again, it's super easy. Just double check your lines, make sure there's an airtight seal everywhere, make sure your line's actually in the cold brew, and then if you're out of cold brew, go get some more, make sure everything's good to go. Simply flip the switch off, turn it back on, it's gonna fire up again, and you're good to start pouring. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date with all our new videos and new content. Cheers. It's got a mind of its own. Dang it, I was just about done with that part too. It was the best take so far. Why did you do this to me?